Many of us have been asking the question of where did Puny and the crew come from? So I figured let's walk it back to some clips from his own statements about where he comes from, what his job, quote unquote, would be in his words.
So we realized
My first question would be, who the hell is we?
that a group of scammers had been running a ring of fraudulent fundraisers, and that they had come and asked me to cover their community. What I didn't know when I went and covered their community
Anybody know what community this was about?
was that they were doing all these fraud raisers. So we put together the YBI,
The YBI? What the hell?
which was a group of people that had been stolen from who wanted to help get justice and stop future fraud raisers. We've been doing it for a couple years now. With
The YBI, that's a thing?
Molly, what happened, I covered, as you know, most of you watched and saw that I've covered the story of Dre, and I found out that there was a fundraiser, and
You covered it exactly the same way Katie did at the beginning.
immediately people started to tell me a couple nights ago that they were asked for refunds and got threatened and doxxed and talked down to and attacked. And we've been looking at it ever since. And I went and
You started to get corrected on the misinformation.
got help from the YBI a couple days ago, and they've been doing what they do, which is one power that the
I'm just curious, have any of you heard of the YBI? Are they some sort of investigative authority? I'm just kind of wondering here.
scammers have is that they go and do this, and then they just go and run to their channel. And like Leslie did, runs to her channel, ignores all of you, lies about me, and then tries to just do her normal thing and act like nothing happened.
As you can tell, he doesn't know much about the story at all of what was actually happening, but he knows about certain creators that had been picked by Molly's team to represent Molly's side at that time.
So what we do, Molly, she goes live, insults you, doxes you, puts you down. Like I just played the audio of her doxing one of you just now. And then they go and Molly will delete the video or put it on private or put it on member only. Like when she went live with D's Nuts was the name of the video, acting rude as hell and shit. And then just gets rid of the video later. What we do, well,
Again with the we.
I cover what's going on live as it happens. The YBI archives everything. They download the clips. They save everything. Then the YBI will go and find out where you have to report this stuff to so that they can get an investigation. Now,
All right, to my creator friends, I gotta know, have you heard of the YBI? Do you reach out to the YBI when you are investigating things? Do they come in and archive everything for you and do everything? I think Uni's confused with the YBI and his mobs.
last fundraiser, they did get an investigation on. It had to do with somebody faking cancer. They got all of it refunded, and they got the police involved and the platform involved. That person left the internet, hasn't ripped anyone off since.
So the YBI busted a lady faking cancer on YouTube. That's what I'm understanding. Any of you around for those days?
And they actually get results. And Nate the lawyer covered that. I covered that. A few other YouTubers covered that.
Oh, Lord. Again, with the name dropping. That's not name dropping because they're actually friends, not name dropping, but we're going to use him for his credibility. Okay.
What we're going to do with this fraud raiser, now that it's pretty much solidified that this is a scam, is
remember, this is a very early on video when Puny first started covering the issues surrounding the quote unquote justice for Vaughn fundraising and the story of Marvon. So he was making pretty egregious claims. It seems like he's a little overconfident in the words and terms that he likes to use.
get a detective so that all of you can submit a report to that detective, get also the other information where you got to submit to. And we've already gotten the first bit of information that what you have to do, which is submit the initial report and then a more detailed report.
Just so we're clear, over 75% of the people who asked for refunds in this situation and did file reports never came out publicly and talked about it. They just did it behind the scenes.
Once we get everyone that got scammed to submit the report to, you know, the one same place.
Just a quick question, but do you know if he ever provided that one source for everybody to report to? I'm just curious because most of my people reported to their local agencies.
The reason I think you will get a investigation, it's almost guaranteed on this, the fraud, the one with the fake cancer thing, was not a big situation.
Even if it's a small situation, you should have the proof of all of these claims that you've made, correct?
It was a very small situation. This Vaughn and Dre issue is a very big situation. So I think there will be a lot more people who get proactive and it'll cause an investigation. Because they, in my opinion, they are using justice for Vaughn in order to make bank. And if they are unwilling to show the proof that they did get the 2 lawyers they promised us, what else are they doing? There's
been a lot of promises made by a lot of people in this story from the start.
And in the hospital, why can't they be more respectful? They used all of this to get your donations, lied to you, and then now they're treating you like this, doxing you. When you ask for money online, you have to be honest. That's what dictates whether it's a fraud raiser or not.
So in other words, all of your money goes to Red Bull?
You have to be honest. If you tell people it's for an emergency, then it will be checked. People will fact check it. They will have to have evidence. If you don't give evidence while using an emergency like this for fundraiser money, obviously you are disrespecting that tragedy. You say, like Molly just said, in a DM, she would spit on somebody, for God's sakes.
Well, I guess you're not showing much more respect for Marvon's story either, considering you have lied how many times, Puny?
A lot of hate. And why would anyone act like that if they respect the fact that this man is... They shouldn't be bringing hate around this. They shouldn't be bringing all this negative shit in around Vaughn and his tragedy and everything going on. There's grieving people involved. There's children involved in this. The real disrespect is not someone asking for a refund. They were promised refunds if they wanted them. The real disrespect is what they're doing, using Vaughn and using this tragedy to profit. That's the real issue. And again...
What's really sad in this whole process for me is to realize that 99% of the bad actors that have been around us this entire time, claiming that they've cared about dignity for Marvon, never cared about that. They only cared about the clicks, the views, and the money. But yet they've told us for months and months that's what it was about. And here we find out we've been lied to about so many different things all along.
I'm not criticizing them for covering justice for Vaughn and the Vaughn issue, because I don't think it's anything wrong when YouTubers cover these stories. It's when they lie, dox, threaten, and attack people using that story to profit.
Well, what's interesting to me is we surely see now that you have absolutely done the same things. You have lied for means of what besides money?
And deny evidence that they'd promised people. That's when they're doing those things. Now let me get back and talk to my live chat so we can decide what we're going to do.
My first question that I'm going to leave you with is, have you heard of the YBI? Do I live under a rock or in a basement and I've just never heard of this investigative agency that busts these fraud raisers and does all this on YouTube? I don't know about you, but I have never heard of this group or anything before. So do you know about them? And secondly, do you know about this claim of the cancer fraud that he's talking about? Anybody around for that? Just some questions I would like to know. And let's be very clear, because nothing has changed in Marvon's story that we have been telling or the facts that have been coming forward. The only thing that changes in this situation is Puny is seen as the liar, and the misrepresentation of the facts that he has constantly done has also made misinformation happen in this story. The facts don't change. Letitia was never set up. Letitia was never framed. There was a lot of people that had a lot of greed in the back of their minds all along, it seems like. And it's really, really sad that somebody who has claimed that they cared so much about dignity for Marvon had such an easy time misrepresenting Marvon's story and the actual facts that were going on. Instead, he had to inflate, misrepresent, and misinform people, all for greed.